For 7 episodes, we've examined systems, redlining, urban renewal, TIF districts, the nonprofit industrial complex, campaign finance, political influence, and how these forces have shaped communities over generations. But understanding the problem is only half the journey. The more important question is, what does a solution look like? What would happen if communities controlled more of their own assets? What would happen if residents were not simply recipients of development, but owners of it? For decades, many struggling communities have been approached through a service model. When problems emerge, programs are created. When needs arise, services are delivered. When crises occur, funding is allocated. And while those efforts can provide immediate relief, they rarely transfer ownership. Residents become participants, clients, beneficiaries, recipients, but rarely owners. And ownership changes everything. Ownership creates wealth. Ownership creates stability. Ownership creates decision-making power. Ownership creates long-term accountability. When people own assets, they have a stake in the future. And communities built on ownership operate differently than communities built on dependency. Consider housing. One model focuses on providing housing assistance. The other focuses on helping residents acquire housing. One provides shelter. The other builds equity. Consider business development. One model funds programs that teach entrepreneurship. The other helps entrepreneurs gain access to capital, customers, and ownership opportunities. One provides services, the other creates assets. The difference may seem subtle, but over generations, it becomes transformational. Now imagine applying this philosophy across an entire community. What if neighborhoods owned portions of their commercial corridors? What if residents owned community solar projects? What if local investment funds allowed residents to invest in neighborhood development? What if cultural institutions were community-owned? What if redevelopment projects included pathways for resident equity participation? What if the people living in a neighborhood benefited directly from its success? Suddenly, development looks very different. This isn't theory. Versions of these models already exist. Community land trusts, housing cooperatives, worker-owned businesses, community development corporations, credit unions, investment cooperatives, shared equity housing models, employee-owned companies. These approaches all operate from the same principle. Ownership creates power. For decades, economic development has often been measured by projects. New buildings, ribbon cuttings, construction announcements, investment totals, but communities measure success differently. They ask, who owns it, who profits from it, who controls it, who benefits when the value increases, because development without ownership can create growth without wealth. And growth without wealth often leaves residents behind. Perhaps the most important shift is psychological. Communities that see themselves as recipients often wait for solutions. Communities that see themselves as owners begin creating them. Ownership changes the relationship between residents and their neighborhoods. It creates responsibility, accountability, pride, and long-term commitment, because people fight to protect what they own. This doesn't mean government has no role. It doesn't mean nonprofits have no role. It doesn't mean developers have no role. It means those institutions should support ownership rather than replace it. The goal should not be permanent dependency. The goal should be self-determination. Throughout this series, we've explored systems that concentrated power. Now we're discussing systems that distribute it. The future of community development may not depend on finding more money. It may depend on who owns the assets that money creates. Land, housing, businesses, energy, culture, infrastructure. Because ownership is more than economics. Ownership is power. Ownership is agency. Ownership is freedom. And ownership may be the key to breaking cycles that have persisted for generations. In our final episode, we'll bring everything together. We'll discuss what it takes to break the cycle of disinvestment, dependency, and exclusion, and how communities can build a future based on ownership, accountability, and self-determination. This is the business of blight, and the future belongs to those who own it.